Hello there, welcome to day 5 of Making the Mundane Magical. This is Rosie, also known as RozyGlow, and I am really excited to be sharing with you the final video of this series. Now, today's video is called What Does It Mean to Be a Multidimensional Being of Love and Light, and How Can I Become One? And I've really needed to go through all the other videos first before I could get to this, because it's another tough one to get your head around, your human head at least. Let's just look quickly at what we've already covered, because in day 1, so video 1 of the series, we were talking about what it means to live magically, how to live magically, what it means to be living magically, which is the start of making the mundane magical. And then on the second day, I have to write this down because we did so much, what it means to be a co-creator of your reality, and how you can start to co-create. Then we went into, on day 3, what your higher self is, and obviously different explanations of your higher self. And then yesterday we were looking at who you're co-creating your reality with. So this is an important factor, because obviously in order to really co-create, we need to move into a place of co-creation, which is where the dimensions get involved. I'm going to do my best to explain this. Any questions, remember to ask me. But essentially, if you can imagine that the third dimensional fear matrix paradigm, which is the one that we all live in, is essentially how a flat world, which really makes me think back to the days when we thought the world was flat, and I know some people still do, it gives it depth. So we have suddenly a world that has we can engage with, and it's almost like the virtual reality that we come to Earth with our programming to act within and to learn about. Now, the fourth dimension is what I would describe Christ consciousness as being, why Christ came to the earth. So, and I'm sure other ascended masters too from all religions, to bring people into their hearts. So instead of just being reactionary and walking the earth and not really understanding the impact we have on our life experience, life isn't just happening to us, but that we can move into our hearts and we can come from a place of love. Now, if you consider that the third dimension is the matrix of fear and control and suffering and greed, then the fourth dimension is how we access coming from love and learning to create from love. But it is also known as the dreamer's dimension, because it is what we can access through recreational drug use. It's also what we can access through medicinal drug use. So there are different plant medicines that you can work with. Essentially, what the fourth dimension adds to the third dimension is a timeline. So the ability to be able to move forward and backwards on a specific timeline. So when you realise you have the power to go back and change your perception of an event that happened, we talked about this yesterday, then you can actually change your expectation of the present by going backwards. And equally, you can move forward, and this is where fortune tellers come in, this is where mediums come in, where psychics come in, where they can tap into what's coming to you if you don't change the way you are. If you stick to the path you are with your current mindset, and obviously life will come and bring things to you, but if you stick on the trajectory you are on, what is going to manifest as a result of that? So the effects of the causes of the actions, that cause and effect. Moving into the fifth dimension, and again making a distinction between the fourth dimension and the fifth dimension. The fourth dimension we access through our astral body. So this is like a replica of your physical body, but it's an energy body, and it's what lucid dreamers go travelling with at night. It is how you, when you leave your physical body and you die, your astral body goes. And actually many beings, or many humans, many souls can get stuck in the astral plane, because the astral plane has many levels of existence within it, ranging from purgatory all the way to what we would perceive as heaven. And if you have a very strong belief system, for example, you believe that when you die you're going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell, and according to whether your consciousness considers you to be a sinner or a saint, you will go to a place that reflects that. This doesn't mean you're actually in heaven or in hell. You're in a virtual reality that is replicating heaven or hell. With different plant medicines, as we said, you can access a much more panoramic view of reality, but it has a glass ceiling, the fourth dimension. There's so much more beyond it, but we could end up feeling like this is all there is and we have got there. And this again is an interesting thing about being teachable, being a disciple, being willing to learn, allowing doubt to be there, not to question your faith, but to allow you to keep opening more and more to a bigger and better understanding of what's going on as you grow in consciousness. And when you access the fifth dimension, this is a much higher frequency. Hello, whoever's watching, let me know who you are. This frequency is the one that connects to Earth's ascension timeline. So I've talked about Earth's ascension timeline before, and I've talked about seeding this paradise on Earth reality. And that's what the fifth dimension allows us to do. So we have to move through the fourth dimension. We have to learn to come from love instead of coming from fear in our expectations of life, to turn the other cheek, to look for the good, to practice forgiveness, to lighten our load. And by doing so, we drop the density of the third dimension, and we're able to move beyond the astral plane and to start to access our divine blueprint template, which is when you start to access your divine human self. You still have a physical body, or you can exist in physical, but the cellular structure is completely different. So any of you who are involved in the woo-woo worlds that I get involved in, that I'm trying to make real for you, will have heard of the fact that we are ascending from a carbon-based cellular structure to a crystalline-based cellular structure. And this is also related to the 2 strands of DNA, originally being 12 strands of DNA. And what we're doing as we move through these different dimensions is we're activating all 12 strands of our DNA, which are what allow us to become a divine human. And a divine human is someone who is a co-creator of their reality. And the new paradigm, the ascension paradigm, the 5D paradigm of Earth, is where those of us who want to drop our density are ready to stop learning through suffering, to stop learning through karma and this constant cause and effect and victim consciousness, greed, separation consciousness. And we want to move back into unity consciousness whilst recognizing our own individual expression of divinity. We're the ones who are seeding this new Earth, and I'm inviting all of you to join me. That's why I've done this series, because ultimately my work is completely aligned with moving into fifth dimensional reality. That's why I do everything I do. And I'm going to just twist your melons a little bit more now, because I'm going to show you an image that explains to you that the fifth dimension is like just the start of this playground. I'm going to take a photo of this, okay? But just to point out a few things, the third dimension's down here, the sixth dimension is there, okay? So that's just this bit. Source is right up here, undifferentiated source. And there are a total of 365 levels of consciousness, which you could say are dimensions, to reaching oneness with God. And right up here at the top, the Council of 12, which is all to do with cosmic days, which is to do with us trying to understand eternal time, which again is a complete head beep. These 12 rays, if you like, or these 12 ascended masters are called the Council of 12. And Jesus is one of them, Christ is one of them, Lord Maitreya is another one. And essentially they all have different frequencies that have been, like when Source tried to individualize in its first instance to be able to take form and have all of these dimensional experiences, because this is the game of life and how to play it. Source obviously got bored of just vibrating love. These 12 rays, if you like, are all sort of an individual aspect of divinity. And souls, which is where we were going to talk about a bit about today, there are oversouls, so there are collective frequencies that spin off from these 12 rays. So you could almost say these are like the 12, God's the original soul, or Source is the original soul, then that's split into 12 souls, which then split into all the different monads, the monadic vehicles. So each one of those rays then splits into more and into more and into more. So this is where we start to get into the question of whether for each of us and our creative purposes, is our oversoul, which is kind of the collective soul that those of us who are in a soul group, you know when you meet a soulmate, you know when you vibrate with someone, you know when someone understands you and it's just harmonic to be with them. They are part of your soul group. There are also parts of your soul group that are more extended, that are to do with aspects of your soul that are willing to act antagonistically to teach you and to remind you of different aspects of yourself. So a soulmate isn't necessarily someone that you're going to have an easy ride with, but they are someone that will trigger the life lessons that you have chosen to come here to learn. So it's kind of like your best mates up in the spirit world or between worlds, where you get the opportunity to come, and through agreement they help you to remember lessons you've come here to learn. The oversoul, just out of interest, in this diagram is here. So you get this monad, you get this sort of split from the ray into another individualization of that frequency, that expression of God or source, and then it splits again, and then it splits again. And the way my teacher Susanna's described this before is, so that's Susanna Kennedy, awesome woman, just keep learning with her, she's taught me so much, is that if you think of the oversoul as the whole tree, the tree trunk, and then you have tree branches, which are soul groups, I believe, and then you have individual branches and then individual leaves. So the individual branch will be your own soul, and each leaf will be each of the experiences that you have had in your lifetimes to come to grow into oneness again from separation. So I'm just going to leave that bit there, because this is why we're creating a membership program, to be able to understand these things more by dropping into our heart and just accepting that being a multidimensional being of love and light means acknowledging and accepting that this is all of us. We are all this, and therefore we are all one. We are not just the personality of our third dimensional reality, the person we identify with being. Me, I am Rosanna, known as Rosie. I am the daughter of, I am the sister of, I am the mother of, I am the granddaughter of. You know, this is all about us identifying with our earthly existence. The soul is the eternal aspect of you. Yeah, it is the consciousness that is with you from the moment you split from source to the moment you reunite with source, because staying separate, there's no joy in it anymore. That reunification is what we're all seeking, and we seek it in ourselves. Then we can seek it in our relationships, our partnerships. Then we can seek it collectively, and then we can seek it globally. Okay, but you can go outwards to start with and draw inwards, and you can go inwards first to go outwards. And by that I mean you can start with the you and move outwards, or you can start with humanity and move inwards. Either way, you have to accept your God self, you have to accept your inner presence, you have to accept the divinity that is you to be able to become a co-creator of your reality, to choose who you're co-creating with, your higher self, from your divine design timeline, which we're going to go into now, your God self, so the you that is source, or your ego, or bits of you that are stuck in the past, that are traumatized, and everything in between. Okay, we have to make a choice and intention of who we are co-creating with. So another aspect of being a multidimensional being of love and light, the difference between 5D and 4D is that you can't just go forwards and backwards on one timeline. You can now go up and down, baby. So we're talking about these dimensions, yeah, 365, 355, let's add it up, 330, 40, 52, 352 layers of consciousness to get back to unification consciousness. Don't think we're going to do it all in this lifetime, but that's why we have lots of lifetimes, to do it eventually. And we all ascend eventually. This is the thing. Even those who are choosing to stay in the 3D matrix of suffering and control and greed and everything else will eventually ascend into the fifth dimensional paradigm, the paradise on earth, before they then no longer need to incarnate in human form. And actually it is said that 5D earth is not a place anymore for us to reincarnate. Third dimensional world is where we may come back, but it's again, earth is making a choice at the moment to stop hosting reincarnation as a way of learning lessons. So those souls that are here doing what they're doing are going to need to make a choice to either ascend now and start that process of ascension, or stay in suffering until they decide that they're ready to ascend. And those of us who are ascending and choosing the path of co-creating with Source and coming from love, we will be working with the battlefield, if you like, and going in constantly as world bridges, offering hands, saying, come with me, so much nicer over here. You sure you still want to stay stuck in that place? Fair enough, but it's really cool over here. When you're ready, change your mind. I'll be right there for you, just call. And so this is why I also say that for me, I work with those who are starting to open their eyes and want to see what's going on, and maybe a bit terrified by the fact that the world that they've grown up in is an illusion. But they're ready to learn more. And I'm not saying I know everything here. My goodness, I know nothing. Seriously, what I know is such a smidge. And I have to constantly question it as well, because I keep learning more. But what I do know helps me to be able to work with others. And, you know, knowledge becomes wisdom through embodied practice. So I'm embodying my practice, and I invite you to too. Those who are eyes firmly shut, adamant that the world is just this way and that's the only way it is, are just going to need to stay in their own purgatory until they get fed up with that suffering. And the pain of staying the same is worse than the fear of change. And this is a reality for all of us. So we've all got a choice into what we do. So 4D is the ability to go forward and backward in time. 5D is being able to go up and down through dimensions. So I am a multi-dimensional being of love and light. Well, this is where you also move from your astral vehicle, so your etheric body vehicle, the you that exists as a form but not a physically dense form. Instead of moving only through to the astral plane, you then integrate your inner masculine and feminine. You integrate and heal all the layers of your spiritual bodies, which anyone who's into yoga will have heard of: the physical body, the pranic body, the emotional mental body, the wisdom body, and then the bliss body. Okay, so essentially we need to heal and clear physical, etheric, the emotional, mental, astral, and then we can take this leap into the space of insight beyond judgment, which is where forgiveness really comes in, and that then opens the doorway to your bliss body. And that bliss body is that enlightenment state that we experience once we have fully integrated into the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is just a doorway. It's a plane that allows you to access the infinite dimensions above. But everything below that is where we stay until we integrate our higher self, and our higher self can actually dwell in our physical bodies, whatever type of physical body we have, crystalline or carbon. Now, what does that mean? Hello, hearts. Thank you for the hearts. That means that you are in a place then where you are able to integrate your Merkaba. So your Merkaba is like an energy body or a vehicle, which is like the six-pointed star with a sphere around it. Okay. Now, what happens when we integrate our inner masculine and feminine and we bring our higher self to dwell in our physical body is it becomes like a diamond shape. Instead of the two being sort of crossed over each other, they move up and they create this diamond shape, which is your light body. And that's how you traverse all of the dimensions, integrated with your higher self, embodied fully into your conscious experience and your human form if you are in human form. Now, another way of explaining this would be to consider that we need to lighten the density of our physicalness in order to be able to house our higher self and our soul effectively in our physical body. So we have to grow in light. And that is what yoga does, okay? That is what all systems of healing do, is they help you drop density and then to expand light until you become enlightened. But if you just keep adding light to what is already there and you don't use it to shift what is already there, then all you're doing is you're energizing your consciousness as it is at that time. And this is where the ego keeps us stuck. So I know plenty of people who call themselves healers, therapists, light workers, yoga teachers, master teachers, gurus, whatever you want to call it, who are actually really quite stuck still in their ego. And this is where shadow work is so important, being able to love the bits of us that we feel ashamed of, that we feel guilty about, that we feel shame, guilt and blame, the desire to blame and be in control. There's no need to control anymore. Once you move into the fifth dimension, you don't need to control anymore. You trust that what is coming to you is to help you align more and more and more with your divine design. So let me get through to talking about divine design timeline, talking about optimal temporal reality, talking about personal paradise. Once you are lightening your load, which really comes from clearing your subconscious programming and reprogramming it so you can align your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, and to align with divine mind, which is also your higher self communicating through the Holy Spirit, or Kundalini as we said, we really need to be able to recognize that we can live lots of different versions of our reality. So if I give you this idea of a sphere of compassion, which is what I work with in all my meditations, and you imagine a sphere, so this is a good example here, like the flower of life, but it's third dimensional, so it's round, it's got form, and all those little flowers are actually like little spinning spheres, all spinning on their own axis. If you can imagine that there are infinite versions of you living out different choice points, so every time you had to make a choice, there's a version of you living one choice outcome, and there's a version of you living the other choice outcome. So the you that said yes, the you that said no to whatever choice you had to make. And so there's this infinite, again, creation of experiences that are all coexisting at the same time. This is the holographic aspect of a multidimensional reality. And so also, if you imagined like you were wearing a skirt, okay, and that sphere is all around you, but you've got a skirt which goes all around you, and it's like you're the centre of a wheel, and each, the outer circumference of that wheel then allows spokes of light, okay, and your skirt is like that wheel that you can spin around, and there are infinite spokes of light. Those are all different timelines. So you can check in with the timeline that you're living now by sort of checking in with the flavour of your life, the movie genre of your life, whether it's what you want or you don't want it to be. And when you consider what your divine design timeline would be, or what your personal paradise would be, or optimal temporal reality, then consider what the best version of you would look like. And by the best version of you, by all means, paint the picture of the you that's free of addictions and has lost all the weight you want to lose and has the perfect partner and the perfect job. But it's much more about the vibration that you emit. So the best version of you is the you who's really loving life, who is co-creating consciously, who is able to trust life and sees everything that's happening as an opportunity for growth. So this seeing through eyes of love and loving what you see, and also recognizing that life isn't happening to you. You can't control your environment, you can only control your response to it, but in so doing, your environment also changes. So we affect our outer world by changing our inner world. And so although we can't change the outer world directly, we change it by shifting our inner world and our perception filters through our eyes and our five senses and the senses beyond that. So your divine design timeline is essentially the timeline that you have come here to live, to experience in accordance with your divinity, with God's will, with your higher self's will, the best version of you, coming here to learn the lessons you are, let's say with grace and with ease. That doesn't mean we don't experience suffering. It doesn't mean that bad things don't happen. And when I say bad, things that trigger challenging and negative, I don't like the word negative, but challenging emotions that are painful for us to feel. Pain is resistance. So we've come here to clear up the blocks in our soul's evolution, in our soul's growth, so that we can continue to evolve. So the best version of you living your divine design timeline is here, fulfilling your mission in the best possible way, remembering your divinity through your experiences, and therefore bringing as much grace and ease and gentleness to every experience you have. I think I did that one all right. So optimal temporal reality, divine design timeline, personal paradise are all the same. Personally, I feel like I am living in my personal paradise. I might not be living in a palace. I'll give you an example. You know, I don't have infinite wealth at the moment, and certainly I'm working on the belief and the vibration of just really trusting that I'm provided for. I have an amazing view. I live in a house that's really light at the top of a hill with the downs behind me and the sea in front of me, just like I wanted. I have a beautiful drive here. I get to do for a living what I love to do. Most of the time I'm at home, I'm resting, or I go out into the field and I work and I come back to my safe haven. There's a lot of pluses. Yes, the shadow side is I have challenges in my life as well, and they're constant challenges. They're not just here sometimes and not the rest of the time. They're here and they're big and they're in my life, and if you could say they're my crosses to bear, you could say that, but it's how I manage them and what I learn about myself through that process, and how I grow to be a more loving and forgiving and compassionate being. Now, more on crosses to bear. I think I mentioned before that this analogy of Christ on the cross is a great representation if we move away from the idea that he died for our sins and that he's taken the hit for us so that we don't have to. I just really don't like the terminology I've read here and there. But the idea that the only way to source is through the heart is absolutely true. So if you imagine a cross and the heart is at the centre of it, that is how we can access our God self. And casting our burdens to the Christ within is an interesting term. And what that is casting everything you don't know how to deal with in your human, non-multidimensional mindset to the you that is the multidimensional you, the you that is your God self, that is the inner presence, that is your higher self. You cast the burden. You say, hey dude, me of the most high vibration, I don't know how to deal with this. I need a solution. I need a miracle. Here you go. And you can literally do it with everything. Now, in that sense, Christ dying on the cross, Jesus dying on the cross to save us all, I can see how that has been interpreted and how that's come about. But I think the way we perceive it is entirely wrong. And people are stuck in judgment about who's good and who's worthy and who isn't. There is no judgment in the fifth dimension and beyond. There is no judgment. There is no place for it. It's out of love. Okay? It's not in harmony with love. So, what does the you look like, the me look like, that knows why I'm here, what I'm here to learn and do, and is co-creating with my God self to make the most of the opportunities for growth in my environment? That's what I would be asking. You know, what does this version of me look like? The me that knows why I'm here, what I'm here to learn and do, and to co-create with my God self to make the most of the opportunities for growth in my environment. So this means letting go of resistance. What is here? Breathing into your heart every day. That's the second part of the video today, is how can you become a multidimensional being of love and light? Well, you make a choice in every moment to move from fear to love, and to ask what would love do, and to choose to see through eyes of love and to love what you see, so to look for the opportunities of growth. When you're suffering, the question is, why would I have chosen this? And I know I've had some amazing discussions with lots of people, and it's incredibly hard to believe in God as love if your life is suffering. If you are, you know, I think of examples of clients that I've worked with who, you know, maybe are stuck in a wheelchair or feel that they're in the wrong body or just don't want to live, you know, suicidal thoughts. All of this is like, well, how can a God exist when there is so much suffering in the world and I am suffering daily? Why would I have chosen this for myself? And this is the question, is what is the payoff? What am I learning through having chosen this experience? If I am the co-creator of my reality and the source of my creations, what am I learning from this experience? As unpleasant as it may be, and as much as I want to change it and wish I could change it, and now that I'm living it, can totally wish that I'd made another choice to learn this a different way. What am I learning from it? What has it taught me about myself, about life, about love, about the world? And is there room for me to change my perception if I accept that God is not external, God is internal? It's a long discussion, this one, but I feel it allows us to start to sort of see a slightly different way of seeing things and why we may have chosen what we have chosen. You know, I have plenty of moments where I bang my head against the wall going, this situation, why is it here? And then moving into the space of, what am I learning? So, you know, in terms of where we are on the scale of 3D, 4D, 5D, I think anybody who's working with fifth dimensional tools at the moment is learning to coexist in the fourth dimension, third dimension, and building a bridge to the fifth dimension. And remembering that the fifth dimension is a bridge to these higher frequencies. So your divine blueprint template as an energetic layer of your being, there are beyond that the celestial body and the causal body, and then oneness with God. And there's much more than that as well, you know, but ultimately those realms are realms we are co-creating in. It's very difficult to pull down information that you can scientifically prove and say this is exactly how it is. And I would argue that you really can't prove anything is exactly how it is, other than what we know about, you know, Newtonian physics and beyond Newtonian physics into quantum physics, and constantly we're learning more and more and more about our existence here on Earth. But it's really important to continue to have a beginner's mind and to be open to learning and not to be set in stone, because there are subjective truths and there are absolute truths, and absolute truths are different to subjective truths. The human mind wants to make a subjective truth an absolute truth. And if there are 7 billion people plus living on this earth right now, I promise you there's 7 billion different versions of reality going on right now, different perceptions of reality. So reality is subjective, and you get to choose which reality you want to tap into, you want to buy into, you want to activate, you want to evolve. So virtual reality suddenly gets incredibly exciting. It's very tangible. Okay, have I answered this question? Is there anything else I want to put in here? Such a perceptive, so as we said this as well, changing your perception of the world, seeing through eyes of love, loving what you see, allows the landscape that you experience to change. And it's really important to go on the belief that I am deserving of what I want to experience, the feelings that come from that experience. So we can get stuck on the idea that we want a pink Fiat Uno or whatever, and that pink Fiat Uno is going to be what brings us all the joy in the world. And you get connected to that feeling, yeah, and that feeling is what you want to experience. But you could be down at the car yard looking at this pink Fiat Uno thinking yeah, that's it, and then you see something else that is totally not in your expectation. Let's say a convertible version of it, or not a Fiat Uno but something else, and it's the same price, and it's like 100 times better than you could imagine. And so you've accessed the feeling that you want to experience through the Fiat Uno imagination, but your God self has said, okay, let's let that person connect with that idea, but let's not be attached to the outcome of it being specifically that, because in my divine mind, I know there's something even better that she's going to love even more. And here it is, sweetie, can you recognize it? Oh my goodness, so it expands the feeling that you have activated in you. Our God self expands whatever our imagination is capable of. And another way I describe it is moving from seeing in black and white to seeing in primary colours, to seeing in rainbow colours, to then being able to see in full spectrum technicolor, which is colours we ain't even seen before, and everything in between. So aspects of being able to move out of fear and the third dimensional matrix from fear to love is to recognise that we don't deserve to be punished. That's a lie we've bought. So being able to say, I've done nothing wrong and I don't deserve to be punished, or I am totally worthy of love and acceptance and all the things that I want for myself. Even better, here's a lovely mantra that was given to me by the wonderful Martin from Zoo Studios. I am the wealth, the opulence and the substance already perfected in my world of every constructive thing I can conceive of or desire now and forever, and so it is. So we can go from negatives to positives. You know, you can say what I just said before, that I've done nothing wrong and I don't deserve to be punished, to I am the wealth, the opulence and the substance already perfected in my world of everything I could possibly want. Like claiming that you are that and you deserve it is how you start to create it. And that's being a multidimensional being of love and light. Also, accessing your multidimensional self is being able to explore, to time travel, to dimension travel, to move beyond your concept that the only sentient beings exist on this planet, and actually there is consciousness well beyond our planet, so we can access extraterrestrials, we can access other dimensional beings, so ascended masters, angels, unicorns, fairies, All the stuff that we were told isn't real and doesn't exist, exists, baby, in the multidimensional world. That's why I like to hang out in it. So anything else? Oh, Christ consciousness we've covered. So that's it really. So I hope that's answered your question, or the question that I created to answer. What I would like to offer you all is a gift today for everybody. I have created this series really just to help those who've already done some coaching with me to ground these terms that they've been working with into their physical reality and to deepen their understanding. I've also created this series to offer those of you who are new to my work to get a sense of what I'm working with and, you know, how you can bring it into your earthly now existence, the mundane existence of same old, Groundhog Day, work to get paid, to buy things to survive, have a bit of joy when I go on holiday and nice things happen, but essentially it's a grin and bear it reality. I'm not saying it's that bad for everyone, but that is definitely part of the scale. What I wanted to do was just to offer you a segue, a bridge into my world, which is what this little mini-series is, and also an invitation to find out about how you can work with me more deeply. Now, I have currently got several off-the-shelf, what do we call them again in this world? We call them self-study digital programs, online programs. I also offer coaching programs, online coaching programs, where you can work with me one-to-one, face-to-face, online, virtually, or as part of a group. And you can work through any of the self-study programs by working with me on live coaching for a period of 6 weeks, a period of 12, 13 weeks, depending on the program that you're choosing. I'm also now rolling out a membership, and that membership's going to come out in January, and it's going to be called The Game of Life and How to Play It. Now that's going to support anybody who's doing anything with me to just really stay on track, and it'll be a once a month thing. There's also going to be a membership program for those who've already done work with me that want to deepen their co-creative skills. But what I'm offering you all at the moment is a chance to have a free breakthrough call with me, which will, in that one call, 40-minute call, you will break through something and get an insight into something that's going to allow you to take a step forward into being a multidimensional being of love and light and the source of your creations and the creator of your reality. It will also give you an opportunity to find out more about what I'm offering and what might benefit you most. But there's no obligation. However, I really do want to make clear that I only work with people who want to do the work, who want to take responsibility for their lives and are ready to move out of victim consciousness and to claim their power fully as co-creators of their reality. I don't expect you to have that power yet. I don't expect you to feel as though you've mastered it yet. But my expectation is that you are ready to step up and to step into your power. So I don't spend hours on the phone listening and belly aching. And the point of these courses is really to support you to step out of victim consciousness, to take your magic wand and to learn how to use it. And we all have different things that we need to work on, which is why there are different programs. The main signature programs are my Fearless, Empowered and Free to Be Me program, which is a 13-week program, self-study or coaching, and also my Conceive with Ease program, which is for those of you who want to have a baby, maybe are challenged by it already or haven't started your journey into conceiving, but know it does wonders to spend time preparing. And I like to prepare for at least a year before you're really looking to be pregnant. So if that applies to any of you, then it's really valuable to book a breakthrough call. And the week that I'm offering breakthrough calls, I will send you a link to my online calendar. If you want a breakthrough call with me, then the week that is going to be available for you is the 25th of October. No, that's Wednesday the 25th of October, sorry. It's the week before that, so that'll be... No, I think that is right, 20... You know what? Let me just look on my calendar. Because that is the week. We've got the 30th of October. It's the week before that. So, I thought I'd written it down. Sorry. Let's just get it up. Ooh. Here we go. Yeah, sorry. It is the week of the 30th. It is the week of the 30th of October. So that is the week that I am offering you a free breakthrough call. If you would like a breakthrough call with me, I'm limiting it to 20 people, okay, because I can't spend all day every day. So first 20 people to say yes. If you get in touch with me and you let me know your details, your email address, I will send you a link to my Time Trade account and you can book your breakthrough call with me that week, okay? And then you'll know about everything that's coming on after that. So that's an option, and I hope you'll take it up. Also, the website that I currently have, RozyGlow, is live, but it's under construction. It's not very good at showing all of the different programs that are on offer. But we have Love Your Shadow, Shine Your Light. We have Fearless First Aid. Both of those are working with your conscious mind, so they're not doing any reprogramming of your subconscious. But all my other programs, so the Fearless, Empowered and Free to Be Me, Conceive with Ease, and any one-to-one bespoke coaching is going to work with clearing your subconscious programming, and that is essential for you to move from 3D reality to 4D and 5D. So if you really want to be a co-creator of your reality, a multi-dimensional being of love and light, and to co-create with love and light, then clearing your subconscious programming is essential. There are lots of different ways you can do that depending on your budget. That's why book a breakthrough call with me and I will let you know the options, okay? And there are 2 freebies as well. So the Prosperity Challenge, which is going to be revamped soon because I'm going through an upgrade myself, is available as a free program, and Screw Surviving, Start Thriving is available as a free program as well. So if you want to try either of those, let me know and I'll put you into them. A little update on the Prosperity Challenge. I've had a lot of success myself. So since I started doing it 2 new moons ago, my class sizes have doubled. Enjoy Yoga and RozyGlow class sizes have doubled. I've had clients come out of nowhere wanting to do work with me. I've had money come out of nowhere wanting just because, and also I've had people come back to me and tell me their success stories. So one of them let me know that in doing the practice for a month, so doing Star Salutation with the 2-minute tapping practice, a £20,000 debt was cleared, just like that, in that month, because she set the intention to basically bring in more prosperity and abundance into her life. Remember, life is constantly abundantly providing you with whatever you are focused on. So if you're not happy with what is in your world, if you're not happy with what is manifesting, then it's definitely time to align your subconscious and your conscious mind. And please get in touch with me so I can support you to do that. I hope you've enjoyed this series, Making the Mundane Magical. If you have any questions and you'd like me to make any post videos about this, then please do get in touch, because I'll be delighted to support you and to make future videos to help. For anybody who's watching these videos and it's post the first time I've did it, remember that the content is really valuable and there will be deals that are on offer to you at this stage. So just look at the print that comes with the emails, because the deals that are relevant to you will be offered to you there and then. Namaste, lovely ones. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with me. I love you. I think you're awesome. And I want you to come and join me, please, in the 5th dimension ascension timeline paradigm, because it's fun over here. Take care. Bye. Have a lovely weekend.